Hello and welcome. Thank you for watching, and new background again, I know, but I can't bother being upstairs at the moment. Now to get straight into the video, I had a different video planned for today, but I saw a Vlogbrothers video on tipping and decided to make this one instead, so I hope you enjoy it. Now to me, tipping has always seemed like a daft thing to do, but I was told by someone who lived in America for a long time why they do it so much there, and now it makes a lot more sense. And Hank was right, it's awful. I mean, tips are actually added on to the end of a bill in England without you even asking. It's actually added on as a service charge, which is ridiculous. Before I knew this, I was tipping people who gave me terrible service, and I didn't even know that I was doing it. There's something very wrong with that. But how can that be? How can you steal more of my money and without you being anywhere near nice to me at all? Because quite often in England, the service that you get is pathetic. But the reason is simple as to why it is bad. They do get paid enough to hold over without having to make tips. They do make enough. They don't support themselves just by being nicer to earn more tips. There's no real need for a tip. Yes, of course they help. But as tips go, they don't go to the person who served you. They're split between everybody working. So let's say the food wasn't brilliant, but the service was awesome, and you want to tip the person who was serving you. You can't. You're leaving a tip to, yes, the person who served you, but also you're leaving the tip to the chef who didn't make your meal right. But then again, let's think about this. In America, for being a waiter or a waitress, the pay is so bad that about 70% of your income comes from tips. That is, if they're attractive anyway. Now, if you know how people work in the days of humanity right now, then you should know that there's more chance of a person getting tipped if they're attractive than if they aren't, even if the service is exactly the same. But yeah, about 70% of what they earn in a night is due to tips. That's crazy. In England, minimum wage is about £6 an hour. For people over 18, I think that is. But I'm not sure how it works now, seeing as I don't work myself. And to work for tips isn't really worth it in this country, so people don't bother as much. So to get a decent tip, you have to work a lot harder for very little tip money. But if you get a tip, one, it gets spread between everybody working at that time, and two, English people don't really tip that often, so it's not really working putting all the effort into it if you're going to get maybe 20p for giving really good service. So they usually serve people as normal, don't try too hard, and just get paid their minimum wage. Now, I never leave a tip for several reasons, and them I will list now. One, I don't really have the money to go out that often, so when I do, I don't really have the money to leave extra money after the meal itself. Two, I'm very cheap. Three, I don't think any service in a restaurant can be good enough for them to really deserve a tip, at least a decent one. And four, the tip's already added on to the bill, even before you paid for it, even before you've decided if you want to give one or not. So they don't deserve any more. Now, I didn't know they added this tip on until about a year ago, and I got so stressed at it. And if you ask them to take it off, they will take it off. It's like anything. If they burn your food, you can tell them that you're not going to pay it, and they won't make a fuss about it. If I think they deserve a tip, I'll give them one. But I don't think that you should be forced to give them one, or it be a hidden service charge for them just to get a little bit more money. Otherwise, they're stuck with the stupid amount of cash that they get just for walking to and from your table. Now, in no way am I saying that waitering or waitressing is an easy job. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I know a few people who have tried it and said that they can't stand it on a busy night. It's like torture. Not being able to sit down for like 7 hours and trying to be polite to every single person who's got an issue with the food or with the service or any complaints at all, or any people who are just plain rude when they're ordering the food. Because a lot of the time, people don't really talk to waitresses or waiters as if they're real people, but that's not the point I was trying to make. I did get off topic there, and I'll get back to it now. So let's try again. English people don't tip much. I never do, because I don't have the cash to do so, and I don't really have the inclination to part with any more money. But I hate the fact that they add on the service charge, seeing as a lot of times in England, the food or the service is not good. It's fine for a meal, because the reason I go out is because I can't bother cooking, and nobody's in to cook for me. So I go out for convenience, not because I want a better meal. Because I can't really tell the difference between like a 10 quid lasagna from a proper Italian restaurant and the cheap £1.20 ones from Tesco's. Can't tell the difference. They're the same thing. They're the same ingredients anyway. I'm not saying that not tipping is an English thing. It's just mainly we usually just shut up and get on with our lives instead of complaining like the Americans do. But Americans have it right. If something's wrong, they will tell them. They will not pay for the meal. But when we're in the restaurant and they come over and went, "Is everything okay?" We're like, yeah, it's brilliant. Thank you very much. Yes. And when they leave, they're like, "Oh, look, there's that in the food, and it's not cooked properly, and that bit's cold." Complain. Don't pay for the meal if it's not good enough. If it's not up to standards in what you want for what you're paying for. If you're paying for a 15 quid steak, it better be good. I'm not saying that that's an expensive steak, I'm just saying that like steak in general is expensive. And if I'm paying that much for some food, I want it to be nice or at least edible. But to be honest, we shouldn't roll over. We should stand up and fight for the right to party. Sorry I said that, I had to make that reference at the end of that sentence. But that's it from me today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe by hitting the button above and help out this channel. Be sure to like, favourite and share this video, and be sure to comment telling me what you think of the whole tipping debacle and what your opinion is on it, and if you do or not. And I will see you next time.